about my proposal. In this project I'm going to be talking about the severe lack of rock music in the current British forefront and how manufactured pop performers from TV shows such as The X Factor and The Voice seem to be reigning prominent. Ever since the success of boy and girl bands, shows like Pop Idol came around to further capitalise the genre, and when Pop Idol ended and The X Factor came, the manufactured pop star seems to have been favoritised in the British industry. I'll be discussing more of this phenomenon and how it's affected other genres too.
Interesting.
Very well worded, isn't it?
Rock music in Britain no longer seems to have an outlet like it once had in the 20th century with Top of the Pops, a show which featured many rock bands as well as pop artists, being broadcasted on TV to a wide audience. Many of the bands on there are also actually deserving of recognition, played on there because they worked to get their songs onto the charts at the time. There was also a show in the early 90s called The Word, which was a successor of a tube of the 80s, which offered a similar purpose, giving a good outlet to the alternative rock and heavy metal bands of the time. John Peel of BBC One also helped promote many well-renowned underground bands at the time and got them radio airplay.
You're well good at this, Greg.
Thank you. The X Factor just seemingly drags random people off the street and turns them into stars overnight, even if they don't have that much talent. They'll have songwriters writing schmaltzy plastic pop songs for a winning contestant who will release a single all over radio stations in time for Christmas and achieve 15 minutes of fame, with the show having a nicely gripping the charts and influencing major record labels to decide what is now popular. The other thing is, the show will just not accept rock music, or any other type of music for that matter, because they fear that it isn't mainstream enough or marketable. The same goes for Britain's Got Talent whenever a rock musician attempts to play. Here is a scene with proof of that. A young boy playing Black in Black by AC/DC is rejected by Coward because it isn't mainstream enough. It makes me sick to actually watch him say that. Let's see if we can play it. We can try. Maybe others haven't had much success with YouTube.
You should press Control and click it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying.
Or just click it normally then.
You could,
Here we go.
There we go.
And yeah, he is playing, it's a wireless amp. It's plugged into a wireless amp. Sorry about, volume.
Oh yeah, the audio isn't working, is it?
Not sure why it's not working.
When I was 9, my mum bought me my first guitar, and I'm always playing it. My heroes are Slash from Guns N' Roses, Angus from AC/DC, Kirk Hammett from Metallica, but when I'm older I want to play better and bigger than all of them. I'm going to try and convert Simon Cowell into a rocker, but depends how good I am.
Right. What's your name?
Charlie.
How old are you, Chuck?
13.
13. Can you win Britain's Got Talent?
Yeah.
Go on then, off we go. From AC/DC, right? Yeah, I thought it was.
Is that you just trying to make yourself look cool because you know?
Sounds know who you're doing. I was right. Simon?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, you're very talented, but after 30 seconds, it's literally, I can't hear any more of that. Simple as that, and I think that's what most people are thinking. You've got to find a way of making it more entertaining.
He's a rock guitarist.
Yeah, but Piers, it's all very well saying that.
We want the light heavy metal stuff, will you vote?
No, you've got to find a way of making it more mainstream.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
AC/DC are one of the biggest bands in the world.
They wouldn't enter Britain's Got Talent.
They probably wouldn't win Britain's Got...
They wouldn't have to because they're already big.
Yeah, there's my point. Yeah, the boy's name is Charlie, which we found out in the video. Did, however, get to the next round, but he didn't make it any further into the show. Probably because, good on the kid, he didn't listen to what Simon told him.
What did Simon say? I'll make it more.
Yeah. There aren't really any shows today where you can see actual rock bands being promoted to a wide audience. This is probably because, due to the success of shows like The X Factor and American Idol, they too say it isn't marketable, even though I'm sure there's a large percentage of the population who would actually like to hear something different for a change. I've also noticed a lot of bands that get past for rock music nowadays are pretty much just some radio-friendly pop bands with guitars. It seems that they too have been influenced by chart pop and sounding marketable themselves. I don't consider them rock in my books because they sound horribly overproduced and simply lack the rawness that is in what I consider to be rock music. Plus, all they pretty much write about are either their haters or breakups. You're great, man. So my methodology, I'm going to be making a survey for students around the college to fill in to find out what kind of music is listened to the most. Maybe I can use it as evidence for the project. It may turn out to really support what I'm saying if I can get some votes together. Depends what I come up with. So I don't know what I'm going to come up with yet.
Yeah.
I'll also be studying viewing figures of more band-based shows like Top of the Pops and The Tube, Slash for Word. I'll try to figure out what made them eventually end and why more karaoke-based contests seem to take their place so prominently. I could look into finance too, perhaps what became marketable became too marketable, and had an effect on what's mainly used for the funding of mainstream music TV. I'll probably have to write to Channel 4 for their viewing figures. Right then, that's about it.
Good, very well done, very well done. Who's got questions or comments for Greg?
What is this?
This is just continuing a quick video from the last lesson, so your comments are very welcome. It's a proposal for a project he's going to write about. Would you think that's a valid project, a bit of research that is worth doing?
Definitely.
Yeah. Anyone else got comments to add to that?
There's a lot of detail, which is good, and the way he worded it, I was interested.
You're clear on your motives, definitely clear on your motives. Is it right that Greg's giving his own personal opinion?
Yeah, it seems very
So it's right if he gives his own personal opinion, but then backs it up with
evidence. Yeah.
Yeah, not so biased.
Yeah.
Needs to show other views though.
Because personal opinion is critical commentary in its own sense. It is a distinction mark, but
Trying to get there.
you need to be less biased towards it. Like you said about the rock bands that are in the mainstream chart, they are still technically rock bands. I mean,
A lot of them, although some of them were forced to change their sound for...
Well, yeah, because I can understand that, because there's a band called You Me at 6, and when they first started off, their first EP was like really raw and really gritty, and then over the years they've literally just turned into pop rock. So I can see where you're coming from, but be less
You
biased.
can explain why bands are changing their sound, really, can't you?
Yeah.
Go into delve into that for a
But,
It was
And then
mainstream.
that can cross over. Then you and Amy can compare notes.
Absolutely. What would you say then would be one of the reasons why they become more mainstream, or why they change an image?
Because you just don't get it on the radio anymore, because kids want all the same sort of Nicki Minaj, club music like that.
Do they want that, or are they told that they want that, and then they buy in?
I'm pretty sure they want it.
I'm sure they told
If
that.
they didn't want it, they wouldn't listen.
Yeah, Simon Cowell was kind of saying like he wouldn't listen to not mainstream music.
Because it's not mainstream.
It's
That's
because
the
it's
only
not mainstream.
reason why you would listen to it.
can't
Yeah.
handle it.
That's the thing. Because
Because he didn't put the kid through because it was the
Because
song
it was different.
It was different.
Right.
So he's classifying talent on being mainstream,
Yeah.
and that's worrying, because we understand that with X Factor, but when it comes to Britain's Got Talent, talent in itself is not limited to being within a mainstream marketable context. That's where, in that context, that was an interesting example to show.
Yeah.
So he's
But
wanting everything to just be like that, and flatlining in what will sell.
And it's not even with him, it's not even melodic.
No.
Yeah, it has to be pure pop, doesn't it?
And it's
Yeah.
got to be money making.
Yeah.
It can be slightly melodic or something that's different. but it
That's
has
why
to be.
they pick people that are so mainstream, because they know that mainstream is what everyone apparently wants to hear, and that's why they do that, because they think that they're going to make the most money out of it. But
Yeah.
when people have talent, it shouldn't be about the money that you're making, it should purely be about the music that they're doing, because otherwise it's just going to get boring.
This is why they brought out the voice.
Already is.
Because then that way the judges can't see who they are, what they look like, so they can't judge them on that.
Yeah.
They're judging solely on what they can hear.
But as soon as they get through, they change them straight away.
But
Yeah.
I forgot my point. I had a really good point. It's really annoying me.
Come back to you.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Simon Cowell. He put through a dancing dog. I've been trained